Hi everyone, my name is Bruno and I'm a Portuguese vinyl collector living in England for the past 15 years. I don't consider myself a YouTuber, but welcome to my channel anyway. I recently started doing some reviews about new records, but I've been speaking in Portuguese, which is my mother language and the one I still feel more comfortable with. Nonetheless, I'm going to give it a go on speaking in English for this one, and I hope you don't mind my accent because this is about a vinyl community thread called Red or Dead by a YouTuber channel named the Vinyl Scavenger, which I never heard about until now, and the goal is to make him reach the 500 subscribers, which he already achieved it. But if you are watching this and can subscribe his channel, please do, so he can get as many as possible. And I'll leave a link down below in this video info section for you to do it. I also learned that he's a musician, or at least he makes some music collages, if you can call it like that. So I will also leave the link to his bandcamp where you can check his work by yourselves. I guess you already noticed that I'm reading from my computer, and I hope you don't mind because I tend to speak more than I should, and this way I'm certain that I will keep this video as short as possible. So moving on to the thread, Red or Dead, which challenges us to show 5 records with a red spine from our collection, as well as 5 records from artists that already left us. So I'm gonna start with 5 records with a red spine. I got them here. There we go. The first one is a Portuguese artist called André Henriques, which is also the lead singer of a band called Linda Martini, very famous in Portugal, and this is his first solo album from 2020 called Cajarana. Actually, he was one of my best friends during my teenage years, and we still are friends, but we just don't get in touch that often anymore. Although this record is sung in Portuguese, it has a very interesting alternative indie lo-fi sound, and if a foreign language is no problem to you, I totally recommend you to check it out. My second choice is a mathcore and Christian band called The Chariot, which already finished, and this is their last album and my favorite from them, called One Wing, and it came out in 2012, although this is a re-edition from 2021. Their sound is quite chaotic, as their performance were, but still is a very interesting listening, especially if you're into heavier stuff but within a more experimental and noisy approach. Third choice is a classic record for the alternative scene and the 90s, and it's King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime from Faith No More, which is probably my favorite record from them. And it came out in 1995, but this is the Rhino re-edition from 2016 that comes on a gatefold sleeve and includes 280 grams records with some extras like B-sides and live versions. Fourth choice is one of the records I've listened a lot during my teenage years, and it's Smash from The Offspring, which is a punk rock classic, whether you like it or not, responsible to put the punk scene in the big market together with Dookie from Green Day. This is an Epitaph 2017 re-edition. The original came out in 1994, and to get one now can cost a lot, especially in comparison to what I've paid for this one. My fifth and last choice for the Red Spines Challenge is the last record of Rage Against the Machine, Renegades, which is an album filled with covers only. And once again, it's a reedition that came out in 2018 by Epic, Legacy, and Sony Music, and the original one is from 2000. For the red thread, I chose to keep the Red Spines, just to make it a little bit more challenging, and I'm gonna start with a prog rock classic, 666, The Apocalypse of John, 1318, by a Greek band called Aphrodite's Child. The band included two very well-known names in the music scene, being one Demis Roussos, the lead singer and bass player who passed away in 2015, and Vangelis, mostly known for his solo work, especially his soundtracks, who was the keyboardist and left us in 2022. This is the 2024 Vertigo Mercury and Universal Music Limited re-edition in red translucid that keeps the original artwork and the Vertigo label, as you can see. I still want to get an original copy for a decent price, but I haven't found one yet. My second choice was already shown in two other videos, but they were not included in the dead thread, I think. So here it goes again. B-52's second album, Wild Planet, and this is a UK original edition from 1980, although does not include the plastic bag and the promotional badge, or else it would have cost me quite a lot when this one was quite a bargain for a near mint condition copy. The person here who left us is Ricky Wilson, brother of Cindy Wilson. Here she is. And he was one of the main composers, which unfortunately died from AIDS in 1985. Next, we're moving on to the red 1962-1966 The Beatles compilation. Here we go. And this is the Apple Records 2017 re-edition, which includes all the original artwork and inners, and it's part of a Planet Di Agostini collection that I finished around 2018, I believe. It also came with an informative 8-page booklet about the record, as well as all the other records in this collection. And the two musicians from the Beatles who left us are John Lennon, shot in 1980, and George Harrison, who left us in 2001, victim of throat cancer. My fourth choice is another Portuguese artist, this time a band called Ornatos Violeta, with their first record, Cão, which means dog, that originally only came out on CD and tape in 1997. But later it had a vinyl re-edition in 2012 by a label called Rastilho, but this one is the Universal Music re-edition with the records in blue from 2019, and this is a double album in a gatefold sleeve, and the musician who left us in 2023 is their keyboard player Elísio Donas, and their sound is pretty much alternative pop rock music, but in this record there's a certain mixture with a very funky vibe, and once again, if a different language is not a problem to you, then check them out because they're quite fun. My last and fifth choice for the Dead Thread is the first album of a Brazilian crossover band called Ratos de Porão, which in here were pretty much punk hardcore and crust, and this is their first album called Crucificados pelo Sistema, Crucified by the System, translated, being Discopia's Spanish 2008 reedition from Beat Generation label that includes a few extra tracks just to run a little bit longer than the original 19 minutes during 16 tracks only. The original version came out on the Brazilian label Punk Rock Discos in 1984 and had two different color versions for its cover, being red one of them and the other blue. This is a very fast album with a terrible recording sound quality, but in the punk scene it's considered by many as a classic. Although they are still very unknown for lots of people, they were one of the bands that had the pleasure to play live in CBGB's before it closed its doors forever, and they still keep going live and recording. The member of the band in this album who left us is their bass player Jabba, who did not make it from injuries of a serious knife stabbing attack in 2023. So this was my choices for the Red or Dead thread, and I hope it will help the channel, the Vinyl Scavenger, to get a few more subscribers. So all the best to him and to everyone in the vinyl community, as well as whoever is watching this video, and see you around, I guess.